Sutra 413. Vamadayasте tvachyatadereva nanyasya. So till now we have done the declensions of till the parapada of the Vidhatri. Tuptamantu hitam tani pava pamam. Now we'll move ahead with the Atmapada of the same. So the va, ma, and so on are accepted only in relation to the Achyutadis and not to anything else. So basically, we read the sutra va maho, that if we have va or ma as paranimittas, then the Trivikrama Vidhi takes place. But this sutra restricts that sutra that only it's accepted, or that is accepted when Achyutadis are there. So the meaning of this sutra is that the va, ma, and so on, which were spoken as paranimittas in the sutras va, maho, and so on, are accepted only in relation to the Achyutadis. And I think Achyutadis are till Bhuteshwara. Is it? Achyutadis Pancha. Pancha means till Bhutesha. Yeah, seems like the five, beginning five, the first five are the Achyutadis. So, and not to anything else. So we'll see the application. So bhu yuktatam. So this is vidhata atmapada. Yak Krishna dhatu ke bhava karmano ho bhuyatam bhave prayog. And in the sense of prapti, then bhuyatam bhuyukt atam tam atam yak Krishna dhatu ke bhava karmano ho. And ato no ata a is tathayo, right? Ata a is tathayo. And advanidvay bhuyetam. Then bhuyukt antam ya Krishna dhatuke. And ato here, what is that? Hara. Ato no. Aram hara e ayora Vishnu padante. That sutra is applied here. Aram hara e ayora Vishnu padante. So bhuyantam. Then ya Krishna dhatuke bhava karmano bhuyasva. Similarly, bhuyatham, bhuyadvam, then tam atam antam swa atham dvam aip. Then ya Krishna dhatuke edvai ai bhuyai, bhuyavahai, bhuyamahai. So these are the forms. Okay. Bhuyatam, bhuyatam, bhuyantam, bhuyasva, bhuyatham, bhuyadvam, bhuyai, bhuyavahai, bhuyamahai. By the way, did you memorize till okay the Achyuta and the Vidhiling forms of Bhu, all of them?
No, Prabhuji, still catching up on the sutras.
I have
Oh.
quite some catch up to do because the last 4 days I've been sick and I couldn't do anything.
Oh.
But today it's going to be a big day.
What about Lokram Prabhu? Is he okay now?
I'm going to call him later today. Last I heard, he's doing okay. He's just same thing, been sick.
Oh, both of you are doing okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, but the last 4 days were a little difficult. Just like a flu, you know.
Oh, I see. Okay.
A lot of
Sure.
sleeping and headache.
Typical times.
And then धातोः पूर्वमत् भूतेश्वर भूतेशाजितेषु. At is inserted before a dhatu when a bhuteshwara, bhutesha, or ajita pratyaya follows. At is a Vishnu. The Paninians call it At, and this is an abbreviation Pa. Okay, At Pa. Amazing. Signifies the word Pani Niyanam, according to the followers of Panini. On the authority of the maxim, yena navyavadhanam sambhavati tena vyavadhane api syat, a karya takes place even when something whose non-intervention is impossible intervenes. A karya takes place even when something whose non-intervention is impossible intervenes. Whose non-intervention is impossible. Navyavadhanam, na avyavadhanam, sambhavati. At is inserted even when shap and so on intervene. Oh, so the sutra is saying at is inserted before a dhatu when these pratyas follow. Now, someone may ask when a pratyaya is intervening, then what to do? So, Jiva Goswami is basically saying that at is still inserted even when shap and so on intervene. Because shap and so on, they are not directly the pratyas, they are agamas or vikaranas specifically, but still at is inserted. So that's why the insertion of the agama shap, the vikarana shap, uh, it is a non-intervention which is impossible. Means it has to intervene.
Yeah.
Without it, the form will not take place. So, but still the karya of Vishnu, the insertion at will take place, will come. So Bhu Yuktadip, now this is Bhuteshwara. What was the sutra for Bhuteshwara? Anadyatana Bhute Divadayo Bhuteshwara Namana. Anadyatana. So Dip, Shab Krishna Dhatu ke. Okay, and then Dhato Purva Mat, Bhuteshwara Bhutesha Ajiteshu. And then Dhato Antas Dhaturantasya Govinda Pratyaye O of Abhavad. And I think this is 252 is Vishnu Janasya Dvit, no, Harikam, what was that?
Vishnu Das. Vishnu Das
Bhash
Hari
Vishnu? Yeah, Vishnu Dasasya Harikamlam Vavirama. Is it that one? 252. Yeah, it says here, due to the optionality of Vishnu Dasasya Harikamlam Virame, uh, Abhavad is also possible, but it is not usually listed in verb tables, and Jiva Goswami also doesn't bother showing it. So henceforth, throughout the Akhyata Prakarana, we will not show the case when the option of changing to Hari Kamala by Sutra 252 is not taken. So basically, they will only take the form where it will change into Hari Kamala and not the other one.
But the other one is also allowed. That's what you're saying, right?
It means it's authentic, it's valid, but Matsya Prabhu says that it's not usually listed in the tables, verb tables, like as an option, oblique and then option. So, yeah, abhavat. So this is how we get abhavat. Then diptam, shab dhato purvamat bhuteshur bhuteshajiteshu, and same process abhavatam. Then same process abhavan, abhavah, abhavatam, abhavata, abhavam. So this is pam. दीप्ताम अंसिप्तम त पम। शव कृष्ण धातु के धातु पूर्वमत ओ अब धातुरन्तस्य गोविंदः ओ अब एंड अगेन द सूत्र अरामहर ए अयोर विष्णु पदान्ते अभवम, देन अवमः अभवाव एंड अभवाम। So abhavat, abhavatam, abhavan, abhavah, abhavatam, abhavata, abhavam, abhavav, abhavama. Then in bhave prayoga, it is ta atta. So yak krishnatake dhatu purvamat abhuyata. Then karmani abhuyata ta atam. Then yak krishna dhatu ke dhatu purvamat and ato ya no ata a is tathayo. Ata a is tathayo is applied. It becomes irama and adamidvai abhuyetam. Okay. Then to atam anta abhuyanta, same aramahara yayaro vishnu padante, and abhuyatha abhuyetham abhuyadhvam then e abhuye ya krishna dhatu ke, and uh, it is ip, right? No, ta atamanta stha satam dhvam e vahi mahi e. So advamidvaye abhuye and abhuyavahi abhuyamahi avamaho. So abhuyata abhuyetam abhuyanta abhuyatha abhuyetham abhuyadvam abhuye abhuyavahi abhuyamahi. So abhavat diptam abhavat abhavatam abhavan abhavah abhavatam abhavata abhavam abhavava abhavama. That was the parapada and atmapada is here ta atam. So abhuyata abhuyetam abhuyanta ta atamanta thas abhuyatha abhuyatham abhuyadvam abhuye abhuyavahi abhuyamahi. So that was the bhuteshwara. Yes. Shall we do more, or do you want to? Shall we stop? Like, because
Yeah, bro. I think there are a lot of
there is a lot of thing
guys.
to do, sutra
Yeah.
memorization and practice. So
Yeah, like I said, I still need to cop up, so I'm
yeah,
doing
and
as little as possible.
yeah, so we'll stop here because till Bhuteshwara only. Okay, so yesterday I was just a side discussion. So I was teaching to one of the batches, and we are studying Madhyama Harinamamrit. So we were declining the Krishna word. We have reached to Nam Prakarana. And initially in Krishna word, you have many sutras there, if you remember.
Yeah.
So then, so we finished Krishna word yesterday. Like we did on Saturday, half of it, and half of it yesterday. So many sutras. So everyone got scared. They started telling Prabhu, it would be better if we just memorize the tables than these sutras and this and that. And I was like, and so then I showed them, like I have made a list of how many sutras are there in uh, the Madhyama version in the Shabda Prakarana. So
Like,
it's around
yeah,
173
173.
Oh,
exactly. Like
yeah, I see.
so, and I counted the tables. Exact means I have one book where all the declined tables are given, like in all the genders, including the pronouns, the Krishna namas. So they are 150 plus tables. means you have finished noun shabda prakaran. Did you realize that you ever memorized 150 tables, but you have also memorized it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told them, means it's the same thing. You memorize 150 tables, and in each table you have 24 forms, including the sambodhana. And
Yeah.
you here you have the small small sutras, and here you also understand the formation of the words. So I tried my best. Means if only memorizing the tables was easy, then why would Panini Muni or Jiva Goswami ever bother, to introduce the sutra way? They would have just given the tables like Jiva Goswami gives for Aham, Asmad, and Yushmat. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I don't know. Means
A good point, Prabhuji. Many people have this same thing. Even
I'm just not able to comprehend why this notion is there that studying the sutra ways is really difficult. I'm really why so? It's really efficient, time saving, easy, and whatnot.
Yeah.
Bad luck. So what was happening is because like it's my weekend batch. We study on Saturdays and Sundays, and I said we will study for around 2 hours because then it makes 3 to 4 hours per week, and we'll also cope up with the desired number of sutras per week. So initially, you also know that the main study, the core study, only goes for 10, 15, 20 minutes, maximum 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and it's like more of practice, self practice.
Mm.
So initially when I was doing that, so I would just close the grammar part in, let's say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes maximum. So 140, he messaged me, or in the class only he said, Prabhu, you told for 2 hours, and you are just closing in 40 minutes or 30 minutes. So I said, Prabhu, I can go for 2 hours. But the thing is, will you be able to digest it or not?
Yeah.
Then he was like, no, Prabhu, then you should have said for 1 hour, this and that. I said, Prabhu, I took 2 hours so that we have a sufficient number of time, a period of time to do things, because we also study Anvaya there.
Mm.
So, so yesterday I wanted to ask him, Prabhu, because he was the one who raised the question, Ki Prabhu, this is too much. So the point is, you got the point, right?
Yeah, he's saying
I
we need
think
more, and then he's
it's
saying, "Oh, it's too much."
I think it is easier for you to just go through 2 hours. It's difficult for the student to.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling. That for me, there is no issue teaching, because one who knows the subject, for him it's nothing, like
Hmm.
almost nothing, because he knows the subject and he goes on teaching. So, but students know that we don't know the subject, this is a new subject, so we have to go slowly. So I was trying to go slowly from the very beginning because I knew how much everyone can digest. But this Prabhuji was like, no, Prabhu, you should go for 2 hours. I said him, you wait and you see, then you will say, Prabhu, reduce the speed.
Mm.
And yesterday only he said that.
Mm.
So so yeah, people, they just jump in thinking that Sanskrit is something, means something casual maybe, but it's not actually. Anyhow, okay, which shloka is that? We did 33 and 34. Yad Yadyesho parata, yadi esha parata, yadyesho parata, devi maya vaisharadi matihi संपन्न एवेति विदुर महिम्नि महीयते. यदि भगवत कृपया एषा वैशारदी विशारदः सर्वज्ञः ईश्वरः Tadiya. Tadiya Devi. Okay. Tadiya Devi Sansar Rupa Chakrena Kridanti. This is interesting. One who plays with the chakra uh, of sansara. Matihi buddhi rupa maya uparata bhagavat jnana balena sa avidya matihi yadi vidya rupena. I think it should be vidya. It's, I believe it's a spelling mistake, Prabhu. What do you think, Vijay Prabhu?
Yeah, even when I was writing, also I was confused. I just left it as it is.
So it should be vidya. So vidya rupena parinata bhavati. Tada sadasad rupam जीवोपाधिम दग्धा निरिन what is this nirindhana okay nirindhana agnivat स्वयमेव उपरमेत इत्यर्थः wow तदा संपन्नः एव ब्रह्म रूपं प्राप्तः सन्नेव स्वे महिम्नि परमानंद स्वरूपे महीयते पूज्यते विराजते इत्यर्थः इति विदु तत्त्वज्ञः जानन्ति. Okay, so the Tattvajnas, they know what? That if, with the mercy of the Lord, yeah, the Kripa Shakti of the Lord, the Maya, yeah, Maya, which is the Bahiranga Shakti Maya. This Vaisharati Devi is for Maya, right? They are all Visheshanas. Because Devi is explained as Sansara Rupa Chakrena. Looks like. So Maya, the Bahiranga Shakti, who is Vaisharadi. Vaisharadi means who belongs to Visharada. Visharada literally means one who is expert, one who is Daksha. Here it is translated as one who is Sarvagya, who is Ishvara, the Lord. So one who belongs to the Lord, who is Sarvagya. And she is Devi, who plays with the chakra, with this chakra of birth and death, samsara. And she, this mati will take later because I think it's not fitting in here. So such a Maya, Uparata, becomes demolished or, yeah, Uparata, or subsides, ceased, stopped, yeah, all. And so how Bhagavad Jnana Balena Sa Avidya Matihi. Yeah, so this Mati is Avidya, Avidya Matihi. So this is connected to Maya. Yeah. So by the strength of the knowledge pertaining to the Lord, that avidya, that mati, which is overwhelmed with avidya, yadi vidya rupena parinata bhavati, if it becomes parinata, it changes. Yeah, it transforms or it changes by knowledge, vidya rupena. Tada, then sadasad rupam jivopadhim dagdha, the designations of the living entities, the Sad Asad Rupam. How will you connect Sad Asad with Upadhi here? Mm, mm, mm. Does it mean the subtle and the gross Upadhis?
Cause and effect.
Means then how will you connect it with Upadhi there?
That is the upadhi for the jiva, right?
Yeah, Sadasad Rupam Jivopadhim. Means it's connected with the Upadhi here, Jivopadhim.
Right.
Sadasad Rupam Jivopadhim. So what I understand is it's connected with the it could be means the subtle and the gross Upadhis, the designations. So subtle designations could be, karta aham, bhokta aham, ityadi, and the gross we see, I'm man and this and then that. Because if we take it in cause and effect sense, then how would it connect to Upadhi?
So this world is full of cause and effect, right? And
Oh, okay.
that is all upadhi and the jiva. The jiva is
Upadhi?
upadhi, limiting factor for the jiva. Everything in this material world, including mind, intelligence, ego, and the body, everything is having cause and effect. One is cause for the other. Usually they class sadasat in commentary I have seen as cause and effect.
Oh, yeah, cause and effect. So such designations at that time when avidya is overcome by vidya, at that time the upadhis, the designations, they are dagdha, they are burnt up. Daha bhasmi karne, bhasmi bhuta. It's like nirindhana agnivat. So it's like fire, which vanquishes without without the supply of fuel. Nirindhana. Indhana means fuel, and nirindhana means no fuel, no supply of fuel. So indhana generally means wood, and in modern context, indhana could mean fuel, like petrol or diesel or whatever. So maybe in future indhana could be electricity, even now also. So anyhow, agnivat, nirindhana, agnivat, swayameva uparamet ityartha. It means that it automatically ceases swayameva by itself. The avidya or the designations means there is no need to separately endeavor for it. It automatically happens. Swayameva uparamit. Swayameva uparamit is for Maya. Such Maya, so by Bhagavad Kripaya, by Krishna's Kripa Shakti, Maya automatically Swayameva uparamit. And this is also uh, stated in Bhagavad Gita. What is that point? Mama Maya Dhrityaya Mameva.
Prapatyante
Maya.
maya metam tarantite.
Yeah, so the same point actually. So we just surrender to Krishna, we take refuge of him, and then automatically swayameva uparamit. So tada, at that time, sampannaha eva brahma rupam praptaha sanneva. At that time, when he's freed from ignorance, he achieves to the right position or right upadhi, right identity, and he attains to the Brahma Rupa. Brahma Rupa. I have one question. Like whenever this word the Brahma Rupa comes, for me it looks like a vague term. Brahma Rupam. He attains to Brahma Rupam. So what actually it means, like Brahma Rupam? Brahma Rupam.
Spiritual body.
But he's still in this material body. So then,
Yeah, he will have both mental body and the spiritual body in the prema stage. The mental body is just waiting to be dropped. Once it dropped, he just continues his spiritual body.
does it mean Brahma Rupam? Yeah, that is one point, means which I understand. What is it like the state or the consciousness of the mind? Means where he doesn't hanker, na shochati na kankshate, he's sama sarveshu bhuteshu, and all those qualities, he's self-realized. His Atmani Eva, what is that? Ratim, we read on Friday. He's self satisfied.
But then that you are talking about Gyanis, right, Prabhu? Gyanis, they have this because they don't have a spiritual body, then they are just satisfied with that.
Devotees also have this, they just go beyond it also. Jiva Goswami.
Devotees, what?
Devotees also have this, they just go beyond it immediately.
That is, you are talking for the three types of devotees Baldev Devotion talks about, right? Sannishta, Parinishta,
No.
Nirapishta.
This is Jiva Goswami. He says that devotees attain the Brahmabhuta platform and then they just immediately cross beyond it as well. Because they have a goal that's beyond that. My understanding with
Now, when
Brahma,
you are saying Brahma Bhuta platform, are you saying that they start identifying with the Lord as one? Because
No,
that
no,
no,
no.
it just means that they're conscious of the self, that they're actually cognizing their own atma, that they're atma ratim, they're consciously able to derive the bliss from what is that? There's a Swarupananda and Swarup Shakti Ananda. Swarupananda is the bliss that comes from the cognizance of one's own self. Doesn't mean one is merged necessarily.
because once you attain Brahman stage means like for example, you have the story of Gopakumar, right? He goes beyond the seven layers, and then he goes into the Brahman Jyoti, and then there he's just pulled to merge into the light, and because of his previous practice, he was saved from that.
Yeah, that's in the Brahma Jyoti. This is talking about someone who is Brahman realized, I think. Brahman. So that's a state of liberation. But one can have a level of realization and be relishing the bliss of the soul like the Atma Ramas and not be in impersonal liberation, not in the Brahma Jyoti.
So as far as I remember, Jiva Goswami equates Atman realization equal to Brahman realization. Once you attain Atman realization, it is also the Brahman realization.
Yes, but there's a difference between realization and attaining the actual liberation of being in the Brahma Jyoti.
Yeah, which could be Jivan Muktas, right? They attain the Brahman realization, but they not attain the liberation yet.
Yes, and that's what I was saying. Jiva Goswami says that devotees also attain this, but then they immediately attain beyond it as well because of their sadhana and the goal that they have. But it's not that the devotees don't get this because it's like a foundational thing. You have to have an experience of your own self, and then you go further because you have an experience of the attributes of the spiritual world as well. But it's not that you also don't have an experience of yourself, and then you get a spiritual body, and then you interact in the spiritual world.
Well, let's say in your bhakti path, at which stage you attain this Brahman stage you are saying? Like
It's
you have,
not it's not like a stage that one hangs out in. Like I said, it basically just comes as a consequence of your sadhana and attaining the higher things. But Jiva Goswami makes the technical remark that it is there, and that the devotee attains it and immediately attains further.
It's like, meanwhile, we perform the sadhana. So we get to that stage, and it's not the final destination, we move ahead.
Something like that, I guess.
because
Means,
Baldev Bhushan then categorizes that it is the Sanishta devotee, he goes through this, he realizes Atman, then from there he proceeds. Whereas the other two devotees, they just cross beyond that, right? This one is a gradual path, other one is not a gradual path.
I'm not familiar with the reference, but that doesn't necessarily go against Jiva Goswami's point. Is simply that it's like a line, and so you go down the line regardless. So maybe Baladev Vidyabhushan's point is that somebody may hang out at that place for some time, and Jiva Goswami is simply saying that you go straight through it and on to the next thing, but still you're going through it. That's what I'm meaning. Maybe very fast, it may only be a second, but still, you go through it.
so Prabhupada says with self-realization.
See, Prabhupada's self-realization you use in a very broad context. He says, I am servant of the Lord, also self-realization.
Yeah.
Then he becomes advanced and thus becomes situated in his own glory. This is,
Which
see,
verse is this?
1 334.
Hmm.
So, Swe Mahimni Mahiyate. Prabhupada translates, thus becomes situated in his own glory. And this is something. uh,
And it
so,
sounds like
now here,
Swarupananda.
and Brahma Rupam Prapta Saneva, Swe Mahimni Paramananda Swarupe. Okay, Paramananda is, of course, uh, the supreme bliss. Mahiyate Pujyate Virajate. Now, how would Pujyate fit there? Okay, Virajate is like, okay, Virajate, he stays there, or he becomes situated in that
This is the
stage of.
Sati Saptami, is it? Pujna Swarupe Pujyate.
No, no, no. Pujyate is a verb.
Oh, I know, but combining with the Paramananda Swarupe Pujyate.
No, means for Sati Saptami, you have to have the seventh case, but Pujyate is not the seventh case.
Oh, you cannot
It's
have
the.
verb and Saptami, huh? I see. You have a
No.
Kridanta and name.
Yeah, Kridanta can also work, but this is a proper finite verb.
Yeah.
So it cannot work here. So Paramananda Surupa is just an Adhikarana, then in his own form of supreme bliss. Same thing, Atmarati, which we read from Gita, because he is fully satiated within the self, so he is supremely blissful, and and he becomes situated. Now, Pujyate, how does Pujyate fit with Paramananda Surupa? Pujyate.
So he is worshipping the Lord in his spiritual form.
Mm, but Pujyate Virajate iti artha. Pujyate means Virajate, this is the meaning. Then,
Virajate means?
like
Rajate means
Pujyate,
shining, right?
it- because it doesn't say Pujyate Virajate Va.
So what does
Pujyate equals.
Virajate mean, Prabhuji?
Virajate means situated in general.
Doesn't it mean like shining,
Yeah, it can like brighten,
to
illuminate.
reign, to govern, to master? So yeah, it seems like it's talking about Swarupananda and talking about that preliminary level of spiritual realization, not necessarily Bhagavan realization.
Hmm.
Because my understanding is your body, mind, and soul, or mind and the subtle body, slowly changes into spiritual form. Gets spiritualized.
Well, they get
But
spiritualized so you can do sadhana in when you have them, but then you get a spiritual body, you get a spiritual antakarana and a spiritual body when you transcend into the spiritual world.
Okay, so this spiritualized is different from spiritual, huh?
Yeah, what is that? Oh, my brain. I'm really only at
the shloka,
30% today. What is this verse by Rupa Goswami? Atashi Krishna Namadi.
Na bhaved grahyam indriya. He say one
Yes.
muki jivado.
So basically, bhakti voluntarily agrees to come into the chitta and onto the senses of one doing sadhana, and that's how they're spiritualized. So we can do sadhana when we have a material body and a material antakarana. When we attain a spiritual body, which is composed of the Swarup Shakti, then you do that with those, but because it's composed of the Swarup Shakti, it's more direct.
So
Something
what
like,
is the difference between spiritualized and spiritual?
well, spiritual means it's directly composed of the internal potency,
And the
and
spiritualized is material
spiritualized.
energy, yeah?
Say again.
Spiritualized is the material cause is material energy still, is it?
Yeah, spiritualized means material energy, and particularly in the context of this verse, it means that bhakti has voluntarily agreed to manifest on those senses, because bhakti can't be performed. Nalbhaved Kurayam Indriyai cannot be performed by material senses. So nothing we do, no chanting is actually bhakti. But because we're doing a sadhana under sadhus and But the proper way, bhakti agrees to voluntarily descend onto those senses, and so they become spiritualized. While they're not spiritual, still they're material, but bhakti has come there and empowered us to be able to do the sadhana.
That is very interesting. So just a comparative thing, right? Is it the deity also? The deity is invited, right? In
Yes.
deity form. Is it the same thing, or is that is a different thing?
Yes. That's therefore it's stone, and then you invite, and then the deity agrees to come. And then it's, it's not that you can just carve a picture or paint a picture of Krishna and then Krishna is there. But if you have enough bhakti, or if you go through the right process through vidhi to invite the deity, then the deity comes there voluntarily. So it becomes
So
spiritual.
my question is, there is still a difference between spiritual and spiritualized, right?
Yes.
And so, is there a difference between the deity and the deity possessing the deity? Because we often say that it is not, right?
Well, because practically speaking, there's no difference. Because once the deity agrees to be there, then you're worshiping Bhagavan. And he's there because he's been invited properly, or because some devotee with bhakti has asked him to come. But still, it's a practical thing. You're dealing with material stone, and then it has become spiritualized, and now it's not to be regarded as material anymore because the deity is residing there. But still, other people can see it. Other people can, somebody who has no faith, they can come and they can cognize it. It's not only cognizable by somebody who has spiritual consciousness. It's an interesting thing. I wondered about this for a long time.
Oh, where did you read a lot about it? Like,
If you go to Jiva Goswami's commentary in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu on that verse,
which
Ata
about
Shri Krishna Namadi. Yeah, and then somebody wrote a paper which was going off of this, and they were quoting a lot from the 11th canto because Krishna's giving so much there. I have to remember.
Deity worship he talks about, right? Yeah.
Say again.
There he talks about deity worship.
Yeah, maybe it's there.
Hmm.
But particularly this verse that Rupa Goswami, he quotes it actually. I think it's from Padma Purana. It's not Rupa Goswami's own verse.
But Jiva Goswami does not talk about it in Sandarbha Sanda.
I may have come across it there. I'm not remembering specifically. If he does, it would probably be in Bhagavat or Krishna Sandarbha.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, yes, Paramananda Swarupe Pujyate Virajate Tirtha Iti Viduhu Tattvajnaha Jananti. The Tattvajnas, they know thus. Okay, we'll do one more. एवं जन्मानि कर्माणि ह्यकर्तुरजनस्य च वर्णयन्ति स्म कवयो वेदगुह्यानि हृत्पतेः यथा जीवस्य जन्मादि माया एवं ईश्वरस्य अपि न माया एवं ईश्वरस्य अपि न एवं जीववत् अगर्तुः निर्विकारस्य अजनस्य जन्मादि रहितस्य हृत्पतेः अंतर्यामिनः भगवतः ओके वेदगुह्यानि वेदेषु रहस्यत्वेन संवृतानि जन्मानि आविर्भावादीनि कर्माणि लीला रहस्यादीनि कवयः पंडिता वर्णयन्ति कीर्तयन्ति स्म. So just like yatha jivasya janmadi maya, the birth and death and so on of a living entity, they are illusory because factually there is no birth and death of a jiva. They are maya, illusory. Evam, similarly, Ishwarasya apina. Similarly, the birth and so on of Ishvara is not illusory. It is not Maya. Evam Jivavat. Jivavat, like a Jiva. So the Kavayas, the Panditas, the learned people, they chant or they describe, they narrate the Leela Rahasyadini Karmani, the confidential pastimes, and the Avirbhavadini, the Avirbhava, the appearance, and so on, which Vedeshu Rahasyatvena Samritani. Samritani is like so, which is basically enveloped or enclosed, being confidential in the Vedas. The
Considered in
Avirbhavadini,
Vedas, huh?
yeah, concealed in Vedas, in short, because of being rahasyatvena, because of being confidential.
Mm-hmm.
So such karmas and janmani karmani, they are concealed in Vedas because of being confidential, and they are of Bhagavan, who's antaryami. Hritpate means, hrit means the heart. So hritpate, hridah pati tasya iti hritpate, who is ajanasya, who is without janma and so on, janmadi rahitasya, and who is nirvikarasya, who bear no change. There is no transformation, no vikara in whom. So yeah, so kavaya varnayanti. Now I'm just wondering how does evam jivavat is connected with here? Okay. Evam ishwarasya api na jivavat. So it's connected here.
Not like the jiva.
Yeah, okay. Because if we connect evam and further, then it won't make sense.
Yeah.
So it's connected here. Okay. Evam ishwarasya api na jivavat. Na evam na jivavat. Yeah. Yes.
There's a bracket ending in Rahitasya. I don't know where it started.
Yeah, that is
Here also it is not there.
evam janmani. So we have ajanasya there. Yeah. So it is starting here, I think. Yeah, it's starting here. Anyhow, whoever Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada and his disciples, followers, they did it. That was a lot of thing service. We cannot one two brackets by ourselves.
Mm.
Okay, we'll stop here, take rest, and yeah, revise. So okay, I'll stop here. Thank you very much, and we'll meet tomorrow.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
As always.
Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.